Hi, this is TapCat, and today I'd like to talk about the announcement that XCOM 2 is getting a new expansion. XCOM 2 War of the Chosen will be released simultaneously on PC, Xbox One, and PS4 on August 29th. And where most of the previous DLC for XCOM 2 was fairly modest in scope, this one has a lot going on. So let's dive in and get started covering what it has to offer. First up, there are new enemies. I mean, this is XCOM, so you'd expect that the main focus would be on making as many players as possible shed bitter tears of pain and frustration. And the early promotion of the DLC has put the Chosen front and center as the bringers of our latest anguish. To quote the developers, the Chosen have unique strengths and weaknesses that will be introduced with each new campaign. They're on the hunt for the commander and will kidnap, interrogate, and kill XCOM soldiers to complete their objectives. The Chosen can also invade the strategy layer and ravage XCOM's global operations. Find and raid the Chosen's strongholds to defeat the enemy for good. Now, XCOM 2's creative director, Jake Solomon, has also said that we'll be seeing the Chosen over multiple missions, not unlike the alien rulers from the Alien Hunters DLC. Now note, he did not say that they'd have either the reaction phases of the rulers or a health pool that you could whittle away at each time until you ultimately killed them for good. In fact, based on the information we have so far, that the only way to take them out for good is to go to their strongholds. It seems likely that if they have a traditional health bar, it'll reset every time you meet them, and any damage you do will only serve to drive them away, that nothing you do can kill them outside of their citadel. Another thing that Mr. Solomon shared is that the Chosen will gain new abilities and new weaknesses each time you meet them. So that's going to make encounters especially tense, since you may have no way of accurately predicting what new ability is going to manifest, especially because they have implied that it won't be the same from campaign to campaign. So far, we don't know much about the individual Chosen, but we do at least know their identities. One is the sword-wielding assassin, the long-range sniper known as the Hunter, and the warlock, who I think we can presume will use psionics. Now, before I move on from the Chosen, I do just want to stress that beyond messing with you on the battlefield, these little beauties can and will disrupt your resistance contacts as well. We can count on reduced income from regions where they gain influence, and that's probably the best case scenario. Is it possible that we could even lose contact with a region? Because that would be extremely painful in a way that we don't often have to suffer in XCOM 2, not at the strategy layer. And that alone makes me think they might do it. The new enemies do go beyond the Chosen though. First off, there's the Priest, who will use psionics, and the Purifier, who apparently specializes in explosives. Both are part of Advent, and we can probably expect to see them join not just the pods on mission maps, but also the reinforcement groups. Next up is the Spectre, who sounds like a particularly nasty piece of work. It can make dark copies of XCOM soldiers. Now, personally, I'm hoping that killing the Spectre will eliminate those copies so we don't have to essentially fight ourselves. But that most definitely remains to be seen. And last but definitely not least are the Lost. These are human survivors, and I use that term loosely, of the war 20 years ago. So they live in cities that the aliens devastated at that time, and they've degenerated into rage-filled zombies that will be drawn to the sounds of battle and attack anyone once they get there. And yes, anyone can mean the aliens too. So I'm hoping that we'll have the option of purposely drawing them in to attack. Now that would obviously be a risky move, but those are the kind of hard choices that make battles more interesting and satisfying to win. The two things are immediately obvious when you think about all of this. First, there's a lot we don't know yet, and we'll have to wait for more information before we can have a clear sense of just how badly these new enemies will impact your campaign. But if I know this development team, then these guys will be trouble. Big trouble, and the onus will be on us to deal with the fallout. Now, thankfully, not all of the content is geared toward punishing the hapless commanders of XCOM. The Resistance is going to gain 3 new factions: the Reapers, Skirmishers, and Templars. Each will have unique abilities, but they also have differing worldviews that prevent them from working together. The headline news here is that each of the 3 factions will offer a new hero class of soldier. Will we be able to have at least one of each of those? Or, because of the tension between the groups, will we only be able to recruit from one faction per campaign? Well, we'll have to wait for more info on that one. I'm also curious to see if the Templar hero gives you a way to have psionics in a campaign without having to jump through all the hoops that we currently have to. But the factions are more than just hero generators and will serve multiple purposes, including being part of a more fleshed out strategy layer of the game. We'll need to manage relationships with each of them, as well as counter the actions of the Chosen, who will be trying to undermine the Resistance. We'll also have the chance to deploy soldiers, scientists, and engineers for covert actions in exchange for supplies and to boost favor with the individual factions. Now, given how tough it can be to have enough of any of those personnel, this idea sounds like it has potential. Now, for example, we'll have to make the choice of weighing what we gain if we do deploy an engineer against the benefit of having him clear debris or speed up construction of a crucial building. Ideally, there won't be one obvious right answer, and we'll actually have to make some interesting choices. Another new feature is that soldiers can develop bonds with squad mates that are compatible. Now, that's something we won't be able to tell in advance, but if they are compatible as they go out on missions together, they'll form a bond and it will unlock new abilities and perks. Also, if one of those soldiers is killed, the survivor can go berserk in combat, although we don't really know yet whether that will help or hurt you at the time. Sound good so far? Well, wait, there's more. We're going to get some new environments for our mission maps. There are the abandoned cities from the original invasion where we'll meet the Lost. We'll also encounter underground tunnels and xenoformed wilderness regions. Now, that last one's especially interesting because it sounds like it could be an area of Earth that's been altered by the aliens to be more like their world. I'm definitely interested to see exactly what that looks like. No pics of it so far. Given that they've only just announced this DLC, it's pretty impressive how much there is here to take a look at, and I'm definitely anxious to see what more information comes our way prior to its release on August 29th. All right, I hope you found this video interesting. If so, please hit the like button to help others find it. I'll be covering XCOM 2 War of the Chosen through its release, so if you want to keep up with the latest news, then by all means subscribe to the channel. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. I hope we see you next time.